Morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Hold on one second. Let me make sure our OTSS people are ready to start the recording. I'm sorry. Hold on. I forgot to give them the thumbs up. Okay, they're good. Go ahead.
Good morning. I am Roy Gill, Chairman of the Commission on School Accreditation. This regular scheduled meeting of the Commission on School Accreditation is being held today, Thursday, October 1st, 2020 at 10 a.m. via teleconference and video means, in accordance with Mississippi Code Annotated Section 25415. An audio recording is being made of this meeting, and minutes of this meeting will be recorded. This meeting is also being live streamed. As I call the names of the commission members, please state the location of your presence for this meeting. Kelly Barfield.
Present, Vicksburg.
Lori Bricktale.
Present, Brandon.
Brian Harvey.
I don't think he was going to make it.
Jefferson Hughes.
Present, Collins.
Okay. Candace James.
Present, Brandon.
Pamela Manners.
Pamela Manners, Biloxi.
Dr. Valencia Martin.
Present, Greenwood, Mississippi.
Aisha Maxwell.
Present, Olive Branch.
John Mistelis.
Present, Oxford, Mississippi.
Anthony Montgomery.
I don't think he was going to make it either.
Brett Robinson.
He was not going to make it.
Brad Stevens. Jan Vaughn.
Present, Greenville.
Ingrid Williams.
Present, Jackson.
A quorum of the commission has been met for the purpose of conducting this meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 10:04 a.m. At this time, commission members, you have received a copy of the agenda. I will entertain a motion for approval to adopt the agenda. Please indicate yourself for the record.
Jefferson Hughes make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes. Do I have a
Kelly,
second? Please identify yourself.
This is Dr. Valencia Martin.
We have a second by Dr. Martin. Any discussion? Please identify yourself. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Moving on to item number 3, Mississippi Department of Education updates. Dr. Malone.
Hey, good morning. I just want to take this moment to introduce the fact that we have 4 new commission members that were appointed last week by the state board, and I am going to call out each of them and let them, if they want to turn their camera on for just a second and introduce themselves to you and just tell you a little bit about themselves. First is Lori Bricktale, and she is serving as one of the non-educators, and I'll let her introduce herself and tell us a little bit about herself.
Hi, my name is Lori Bricktale. As Joanne said, I live in Brandon, Mississippi. I have 2 children. My husband's name is Michael. Our 2 children are grown. We're both educated in Northwest Rankin schools. And I'm just happy to be here And I'm a freelance graphic designer by trade and website designer. And just thank you for letting me be a part of this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome
Next
aboard.
is Ms. Candace James, and she is a teacher and with the Rankin County School District.
Good morning. I am Candace James. This is my 5th year teaching. I went to Mississippi State for my undergrad and Delta State for my master's, and I am now here again at Delta State for my specialist, and I'm just excited to serve.
Welcome aboard, Ms. James.
Thank you.
Thank you. Filling another role as a non-educator is Ms. Pamela Manners.
Hi, I'm Pamela Manners, and I live in Biloxi, and I am retired. And after 20 years in school administration, secondary, and more recently, I was the interim assistant superintendent in Biloxi. Right now, though, I'm fully retired and enjoying my 6-year-old grandson. And I'm very happy to be able to serve on this commission. Glad to meet all of you.
Good. Welcome aboard, Ms. Manners.
Thank you.
And last, we have Ms. Aisha Maxwell, and she is filling an unexpired term for the principal position that we have.
Hello, I'm Aisha Maxwell, DeSoto County Schools. I've been in education 18 years. I was a teacher for 11 years, 7th grade, ELA, and then I've been in administration for 7 years, and this is my 3rd year as principal at Oak Park Elementary in Olive Branch, and I'm glad to be here.
Welcome aboard, Ms. Maxwell.
Thanks.
And that's all I have for my update.
Thank you, Dr. Malone. Moving on to item number 4. You should, those of you hopefully have looked at your e-binders and was able to go through and maneuver that. At this time, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the minutes of the August 6, 2020 meeting on the Commission of School Accreditation. Please identify yourself for the record.
Mr. so moved.
Thank you, Mr. Mestilis. Do I have a second?
Jefferson Hughes, second.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes. Any discussion? All right, now we'll move to the vote for approval of the minutes. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed? The motion carries. Moving down to item number 5 is the action for approval of the upgrade of accreditation status for the Mississippi Achievement School District in Yazoo City. At this time, I'll turn it over to Dr. Malone.
Yes, so I'll actually talk about the next 4 items all together. If you know, I sent you an updated e-binder with an updated agenda yesterday because we actually, the original one that I had sent out as a draft, we've added a couple of districts. We have, across the agency, been steadily trying to clear districts or things that they had on record in terms of citations or violations and have currently been on probation. We have 4 districts that the program officers have reviewed the documentation that they have submitted to clear them to get them off of probation. And so we are bringing forth to you 4 districts, the Yazoo City, which is the part of the Mississippi Achievement School District, Okolona, East Tallahatchie, and Picayune have all been cleared of their findings, and so we are recommending that the commission allow us to go ahead and take them off of probation and give them an accredited status. So you'll need to vote on each of the 4 of them individually, but the backup materials you can see that's in your e-binder under each one individually where the program officers have given us notification. 2 of them as late as yesterday, which is why you were so late yesterday getting your updated information. Because, yes, we were trying to get those cleared and brought to you so that they didn't have to wait till December.
Thank you, Dr. Malone. we'll take each one of these items up independently. So we will first look at the changing the accreditation status of the Yazoo City, Mississippi Achievement School District, Yazoo City. I'll entertain a motion to change the status of Yazoo City from probation to accredited.
Candace James, I move.
Thank you, Ms. James. Do I have a second?
Jan
Kelly.
Vaughn, second.
Thank you, Ms. Vaughn. Any discussion on the backup material for Yazoo City? All right, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, the motion carries. Thank you.
Hold on, let's see if we can figure out why we're getting so much feedback. The only thing I know to say is if you're not in the process of voting, to mute yourself. And we'll figure it out. Hold on, okay. Okay, they did something and it fixed it. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Move down to item number 6 on the agenda. This item is for the approval to upgrade the Okolona separate school district from probation to accredited. I will entertain a motion. Please identify yourself.
Pamela Manners, so moved.
Thank you, Ms. Manners. Do I have a second?
Jefferson Hughes, second.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes. At this time, any discussion? Okay, all in favor of the
Aye.
motion?
Aye.
Say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Item number 7. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the upgrade of the accreditation status of East Tallahatchie School District from probation to accredited. Please identify yourself for the record.
Jefferson Hughes make a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes. Do I have a second?
This is Dr. Martin, I second.
All right, I think I heard Dr. Martin.
Yes, you did.
Thank you, Dr. Martin. All right, is there any discussion on this item? Calling for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Moving to number 8. At this time, I'll entertain a motion for approval to upgrade the accreditation status of the Picayune School District from probation to accredited. Please identify yourself for the record.
So moved, Pamela Manners.
Thank you, Ms. Manners. Do I have a second?
Candace
Kelly
James.
Barfield, second.
All right, I heard 2. I think it was Kelly Barfield.
Yes, that was one.
Okay. Thank you. All right. At this time, any discussion on the Picayune School District? At this time, I'll entertain a vote. For all those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Thank you. Now we'll move down to the next item on the agenda. And the next item is the consideration of the request to revise the process standard number 24 of the Mississippi Administrative Code 724, Mississippi Public School Accountability Standard of 2020. At this time, I will ask Dr. Malone to present.
Yes, so process standard 24 is the process standard that requires schools to give teachers planning periods or prep periods, as we call them. And that particular standard has been around for quite some time, but we have recently had some questions that have needed clarity to address the part that was, where you see I have stricken through, that talks specifically about CTE teachers. And so we did some research, historical research, to see why that was in there and why it was worded like it was, because the intent was never for CTE teachers to not be given a planning period. And we discovered that the intent of that, the language on the second part was intended to clarify. When this particular standard was written many years ago, we did not have so many districts that were on AB blocks. Excuse me, I'm getting choked. Hold on. So the intent was, in the clarifying language, was that teachers be given a planning period. And now that we have so many schools that are on AB blocks, the intent was not necessarily that they have a planning period every day, but that they have a planning period within a cycle. And so teachers or schools that are on AB blocks, that particular planning period would possibly just be every other day on either their A day or their B day. And so years ago, CTE teachers apparently were some of the few teachers that were on such a type of a schedule, and so the intent was never to exclude them. We've also had some questions come up about whether or not part-time teachers are supposed to be given a planning period. So, for example, if a district employs a teacher just to come in and, let's just say, teach German for one period a day or just on A days or whatever, is the requirement to also give part-time teachers a planning period, and that was never the intent either. So this particular request for revisions is not really anything new. It's just to clarify the intent that's been there all along. And so we are requesting that the commission give us permission to take this to the board to begin the APA process. And so for those of you that are new, what that means is that we will take our requested revisions to the board. If the board approves it, then we will start what is referred to as the APA process, where we put it out for public comment for a period of time and then take it back to the board for final approval based on what the comments or the feedback that we get from the public.
Thank you, Dr. Malone. And after reviewing that, I've been around for a while, it helps to clarify that. So at this time, I will entertain a motion for approval to submit the request to the State Board of Education to begin the administrative process to revise the process standard number 24 in the Mississippi Administrative Code of 7-24 Mississippi Public Accountability Standards. Please identify yourself for the record.
Jefferson Hughes, make a motion for approval.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes. Do I have a second?
Second, Jan Vaughn.
Thank you, Ms. Vaughn. Second. At this time, any discussion? Please identify yourself for the record.
Mr. Gill.
Yes, sir.
This is John Mistelis, and I'm not going to be long with this, but since we're talking about teachers and rules on planning. I just wanted to put it out there and get it on the record that because of a teacher shortage in Mississippi and because of COVID, just want to get it on the record while we're here to say thank you to all the teachers across the state who daily are asked to give up their planning periods by their administration, and not once in a while, but quite often, to cover other teacher spots that are out for COVID and things of that nature. And I just wanted to make sure it's on the record that teachers are going above and beyond in the state of Mississippi to make sure, even though they shouldn't have to do this, to make sure that their fellow teachers are covered and that the educational process for our students is maintained throughout this time period. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Messelis. Any other discussion? Okay, at this time, I'll entertain a vote. For all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
I had one opposed. Did I hear that right, Dr. Malone?
I couldn't tell if it was just background noise or if it was actually somebody opposing.
Okay, I couldn't either. I will ask that again.
If you oppose that motion, we need you to identify yourself.
Yes. Any opposed, please identify yourself. I'm sorry, I must have just misheard something. All right, the
Yeah, I think it
motion,
was just background noise.
the motion carries. Thank you. Next, we're down to the next item. Approval to use the hearing officer designated and authorized as such by the Mississippi Attorney General's Office for Commission on School Accreditation hearings conducted under Policy 6.0 of the Mississippi Public School Accountability Standards. At this time, I will turn it over to our attorney, Erin, and Dr. Malone to explain.
Okay, so I'll briefly explain, and Attorney Meyer can elaborate if I missed out on something here. So under Policy 6.0 for the accountability standards, that is what outlines the process for school districts if they are appealing to us to have a hearing, and we need a hearing officer when we have a hearing. And so the recommendation is that we use whoever is already approved by the Attorney General's office. So this would give us permission at any time rather than having to have specific people already approved by us to be able to just use people off of their list that they have already pre-approved. So I will let Ms. Meyer tell me if I stated that correctly or if I missed anything.
No, you hit everything. In the past, there was, I think, about 3 or 4 individuals who the commission had authorized to serve in this capacity. With the change in administration and times, those individuals are no longer, they've either retired or they've moved on from the Attorney General's office. The Attorney General has now approved, I think there's about 14 individuals. They have been with the AG's office for quite some time, trained to serve as hearing officers, have represented other commissions or boards or state agencies currently in that capacity, not necessarily assigned to any of the education branches. And that way, in the event the Commission on School Accreditation needs one of those, if you approve the use of that list, you can, automatically pull off of whoever may be available at the date and time needed.
Okay. So let's call for a motion. So get to the discussion section. At this time, I'll ask for a motion on that. Please identify yourself for the record.
Lori Bricktale, so
Jefferson Hughes.
moved.
Lori Bricktale. Do I have a second?
Dr. Martin, I second.
Dr. Martin, second. Thank you. All right, at this time, I'll open the floor for any discussion. Please identify yourself for the record. So, okay, if I hear no discussion, we will move to call for a vote. So all in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you. Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Thank you. Moving down to the next item is other business. Just want to remind everyone that the next regular scheduled meeting is Thursday, December the 3rd, 2020. And during this meeting, we will assign accreditation status for the 2021 school years of the schools. Any other business? Dr. Malone?
I'll just elaborate on that a little bit. What you guys approved today for those 4 districts, at any time during the school year, if a district clears their deficiencies, we can bring them to the commission to go ahead and get them off of probation. So what's going to happen in December is every year in the fall, we assign annual statuses. So in the December meeting is when we will bring forth to you all of the district and recommended statuses. But you won't vote on them individually.
Dr. Malone, this is Brad Stevens.
Yes.
My apologies for joining late, but I was not in the best of locations and I was on the road. And forgive me if this has already been covered, and I guess I'm still a fairly new member, but just for my information, and maybe this is not the correct place on the agenda, but just curious, I know COVID has certainly changed a lot of the processes and the protocol in all of our worlds, those of us that aren't in education as well as those of you that are. Just curious if the removal of any of these schools that we've entertained today and approved from probation, have any of our processes or requirements been diluted or watered down, or has any of the credentialing normally required changed for us to accept a recommendation to upgrade a school?
Okay, so over the past, since COVID hit back in March, when the governor gave the state board the authority to waive policies, process standards, etc. Since that time, there have been numerous ones that we have waived, some for suspended, some for last school year, and some for this current school year. So what we'll be bringing to you in December will be anything that impacted districts for last school year. So if anything, any of those waivers would have made it easier not necessarily easier for districts to clear, but it helps some districts from possibly going on to probation because in the process, even though things shut down, schools have been in the process of trying to get things cleared off of their records from previous years. So, like, for example, the things that you cleared or that were cleared today before you signed on, those are things that have been on those districts' records in some cases for numerous years, for a couple of years, that they had been working with the program offices to clear. The A through F accountability statuses, those normally are taken to the, brought to the commission in the fall and then to the board as part of the same timeline. But those have been suspended because we did not have testing in the back in the spring. So we will not be bringing to the commission the A through F accountability statuses this year. only the accreditation statuses. We do have a running list. It's about a 33-page document that lists everything that the board has suspended or at least suspended the strict compliance of for this current school year. If you would like for me to send that out to the commission members, I can do that when we get off this call. It is posted online, but I'll be glad to send that to all the commission members so that you guys are aware of things that have been waived or suspended for schools for this year, as well as last year.
Thank you, and that clears up. That's kind of what I suspected, and I appreciate the clarification. And I, for one, would like to see that list, but don't do it just for me. If there's sentiment from the other board members, I'd like to have that. Thank you.
Sure, that's no problem. I'll just send it to the whole group whenever we get off this call.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good question. And it is, that's all been posted and most all the schools haven't been working with it. So very good question. All right. Any other business? Again, I'd like to thank those new commission members that have graciously volunteered to help and to serve on this commission. It's very important that we look at the things that go through and we make the best decision for the state of Mississippi. I'm proud to be a part of it, and welcome each one of you here. And if there's anything or anyone has a question, I'm here to help serve you as commission members. And I'm going to ask Dr. Malone if she would actually send my phone number out to any of the commission members, the new ones that might need it, that they can contact me if they have any questions and would like to discuss anything. So at this time, I will entertain a motion.
Before you close, if you don't mind, I need to clarify with Mr. Stevens. Mr. Stevens, do you know about what time you logged on or if you were part of any of the votes? Because I'm going to make sure I clarify that in our minutes.
Dr. Malone, I was only, I came on just prior to the Okolona School District vote.
Okay, so from Okolona on, you did participate in the vote?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Mr. Gill.
Not a problem, Dr. Malone. All right, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved. Brad Stevens.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens. Do I have a second?
Second, Jan Vaughn.
Thank you, Ms. Vaughn. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? We stand adjourned at 10:34 a.m. Have a wonderful day.